there fellas, and welcome to another episode on my Image Factory Studio channel. My name is Ivo and I'm advertising photographer and retoucher based in London. Before we start, I would like to make the usual disclaimer. None of the companies you're about to see in this video are promoted in any way, form or shape. None of these companies pay me to say what I'm about to say. So none of these products are being supplied or being gifted to me from any of those companies. This is entirely self-funded project. My intention is to try to see if this is what actually truly Sony promised to deliver. So let's go out and find out if this is really something that's cost this amount of money. It's 7 o'clock on Sunday morning, and whilst most of the nation still sleeping comfortably in their beds, I'm here in front of the studio trying to deal with this lovely bike behind me which Crazy Horse gave us for the weekend. Unfortunately, last night on my way back I catch the pouring rain here in London and the bike ended up a bit grim in the studio. So my first task for the morning will be to try and clean it. Right, so this will be our video setup for today. It's a Xion, I'm not sure how these guys pronouncing this brand, Crane M2, and we mount the phone on it, which my first impression is it's a very handy, very comfortable to use, very responsive. I just test the tracking focus, which seems to be also very well balanced, very precise from what I can see. For today's video I'm going to use the it's called Video Pro. So Sony offers two levels of software. One is more toward the professional people, and the other one is more for people that just now starting into video productions. Because I'm still not very familiar with this phone, I'm going with the simple application, and I'm going to try to do some simple pans around the bike, try to catch some details. According to the forecast, this weather is actually very good because it was supposed to be cloudy, but we have some nice sun. So let's see what this tool is capable of. Still some water left from this morning. The screen of this phone looks ultra sharp. I can see any details, and actually looks unreal to me. It's so crisp, and I mean, my old phone was 3 years old, so well, the software just stopped working for whatever reason. I'm not able to record. Nothing. I lost the image. Settings still working, but for whatever reason the screen is black, and I'm not sure what's happened. So I can do nothing. It's just freezed. Well, that's definitely not a good start. Yeah, I'll try to kill the application and launch it again. Let's see if this is going to help. Okay, let's do this and then start it again. Alright, everything back to normal, so I guess it's something that the people will call a usual glitch. Right, so what are you usually doing when you're shooting a motorcycle? You're touching your camera to another motorcycle and try not to break it, especially when it's a brand new expensive toy. So let's hope Manfrotto making a decent sturdy arms, but let's find out. Right. This is first stop for today. We found this really nice private car park entrance, and we would like to position the bike in front, use it as a simple background. So for the purpose of this test, I'm going to mount this on a tripod, because usually I'm working on tripod and handheld is not exactly my forte. There are a lot of image stabilizers and all kind of electronic things. I honestly prefer to use a tripod. So I'll use a small tripod, I'll mount the phone, which eventually will allow me to do several different exposures. Not entirely sure. They try to mimic the trigger the actual camera trigger, so I don't have, at the moment, I don't have any options remotely to control the phone, so I need to touch either the screen or the actual phone, which at the end of the day might not give me the stability I want from this phone. So this pretty much looks like a toy. I mean, I can't remember the last time I was using this. I must say it's very handy, very nifty, this setup. I don't think I mounted properly. Oh, that's much better. There you go. Alright. Hey. Nice. That's actually, it can be used as some sort of a gimbal or I don't know. I'm not sure how the video people call this. Anyway, rig maybe. This is my setup for the photography for today. A very small travel tripod, bracket, and the phone mount to it. Oh, by the way, give me that camera.
And it's provided from Life on Wheels. And my assistant George, yeah?
That's, as you can imagine, that's George. He deserves to be named in this video, because without him, most of my videos won't be possible. Here you go, grab this. Thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate what you're doing for me, and I really want your name and the name of Life on Wheels to be mentioned here, because this is not just me, this is us. Thank you very much.
Always for you, Ivo.
So, weather seems to go south. It's not in the, I mean, we lost the sun from this morning, unfortunately. By the way, light is very interesting. It's kind of like a very, very orangey, very kind of strange type of light. But hey, okay, let's see what this baby is capable of, shall we? Right. So that's a little problem as you look up closely. When you mount the bracket, they literally block your main power button, so you can power up the phone. Let me try to see what can I do for this. Yep. There you go. So this was hidden, but that's actually even better. Right. Okay. Ooh. Oh, nice. Okay. So unfortunately, this tripod doesn't allow me to go any lower than this. Not entirely sure if I'm able to turn it upside down. Let's see. Well. Well, there you go. No, that was a bad idea. I'll put it back up like that. There you go. If you're familiar with the Sony mirrorless cameras, this software or whatever interface is very close to what the flagship cameras of Sony offering these days. There are cars around, we need to be careful. Right. Sony offering a couple of modes. You have basic mode, auto mode, which I guess it's yeah, it's kind of like similar to what I remember from the Sony Alphas. You have a program auto, shutter speed priority, manual exposure and memory recall, which people that's using Sony should be very familiar with. Yeah, so, well, looks very professional. This camera is offering something very interesting, which I'm really curious to test. If you look closely here, can you see it? Yeah, so this is what Sony claimed to be a physical aperture or diaphragm aperture that's closing in behind the lens and allowing to reduce or increase the amount of light. So this is something that's giving you even more control over your depth of field or your overall exposure. We're not allowed to touch the screen, so in order to make a shot we need to do the actual physical shutter on the camera, which I mean some people might like. To be honest, I would prefer to have the actual touching on the screen, but it's fine with me, I don't mind. So let's see. Yeah. Menu, okay, exposure. Yeah, I mean that's a very intuitive menu, as I can see here. And 24 millimeters where the actual big sensor is. I like to see how much I can squeeze from this thing if I focus. Right, so we have to press the manual, actually the physical button. We can't really touch anything on the screen. So I wonder if there's anything like a, I don't know, maybe like a timer which I can press and then release. I don't know. So yeah, everything looks okay. Manual. Okay, let's try the manual, shall we? All right. Okay, so the menu is very intuitive. I can slide between different speeds in manual mode. I can change the aperture, which giving me an option between f2 and f4. I mean, not much of a choices, but at least it's a mechanical aperture, which is what this camera is advertised with. I can change the ISO, so I have the three building blocks of the exposure. I can tweak the speed, I can tweak the aperture within a certain tolerance, and I can tweak the ISO. So in this case the light is pretty flat, so I don't want to do much of a tricks, but I'll try to do some bracketing with this phone. So we're shooting in RAW, but still I like to have a nice exposure before I start tweaking the files. So what I'm doing usually, I'm going as much as possible back, trying to use long lens in order to try not to distort the bike. With this phone I can go to 50 and I can move back, but the biggest sensor is put behind the 24mm lens, which in a way limits my creativity. But anyway, I'll use 50 and I'll move back. This is so flexible and giving me so much, I don't know, it's giving me so much flexibility. It's very stealth, if you like to, not to be noticed by the members of the public. And of course you can put this in your pocket, just take it out, do the shot, put it back in your pocket and disappear. It's so easy. No more backpacks, no more tripods, nothing. I mean, fucking hell, I think that's the future of the photography. When you're in location like this, which you've never been before, my advice is park the bike, walk around, try to explore different angles, look through the viewfinder of your camera or through the display, just walk around and see what's what. In this case, this bike got a few very pleasing, very lovely angles, which I would like to capture. So by walking around whilst looking on your screen, you can explore angles that you never really thought about before. So this is what I'm doing now. I'm literally walking around and whilst looking on the screen, trying to frame and trying to look for interesting angles. I start liking this shutter button actually. You have like two positions. It's a halfway press which focus the subject, and then fully pressed down is actually taking the actual shot, which mimic the exact behavior of a proper camera, which is that's a good one. One thing I notice is that when you position the camera in a portrait orientation, or phone, sorry. When you position the phone in a portrait orientation, the interface doesn't follow, so it doesn't rotate accordingly to your phone orientation. I mean, I'm not sure how much of a problem is this, but some people might say, oh, I like my interface to rotate with my camera. So yeah, so interface remaining in the landscape position. So I mean, for me it's not biggie, but as I said, some colleagues might say, why my interface doesn't rotate when I rotate the camera. So something I noticed is that when you switch to a different lens from 24mm, which doesn't employ the physical aperture, you have the freedom to choose different f-stops like a normal proper camera. I'm not entirely sure how you're doing this, but yeah. So when you're using any of the other lenses available with this phone, you're free to choose different f-stops, different apertures, because the other two lenses are no longer employing the physical aperture that this cell phone offers. So that's interesting. I need more time to find out how to manipulate this, how to tweak these things. Battery actually is a question that was something that I was not sure about. So at the moment we're at 65%, and we did some video this morning. This is the first port of call for photography. I'm really keen to see how much this battery will hold. I'm not going to charge it for the rest of the day. We have 2 more locations, so let's see how long this battery will hold for. So it's time to move to the second location, which will be down in central London. We just arrived at the second location. Unfortunately, it started drizzling, so that was not in the forecast. Weather is not really on our side today. I mean, we need to push the bikes to the next location because it's a pedestrian area and it's not allowed for vehicles. Not entirely sure how this weather will fit with the entire scenario, but let's see. So obviously it's going to rain today. I didn't really expect that. Just arrived at the second location, which is the Lloyd's building in central London. There are a couple of nice angles here which I would like to experiment with the bike. I like all these interesting architectural decisions made out of metal, all these all these curvatures, this entire design. Unfortunately, as I said, weather is not really on our side today. I really like this background. I mean, it's fit very nice with the bike. Maybe I need to move the bike slightly forward in order to allow more background behind. Again, it's a question of parking the bike, walking around, trying to explore different angles, different opportunities, going lower, going higher, and see what works best. Yeah, it's actually raining, So, as usual, there is a good news and bad news. The good news is that the rain stopped. The bad news is that a very polite traffic warden asked us to remove our vehicles from the previous premises. So, as we suggested, that was not allowed to park there. So we're on our last location for the day, which is a very interesting business architecture. Again, very close to our final stop, which will be the bike shed. Again, double yellow line everywhere. It's not easy to stop, but the advantage of the cell phone is that you literally shoot and run. Anyway, we need to find parking for bikes to park George's bike, and then we're going to be back to you in a few seconds. So we don't even have time to deploy a tripod or anything like that. So we can just park the bike over there. We don't know when and if they're going to ask us to leave. So yeah, let's try and see what's I'm going to do handheld now. So no tripod. Right, so far no problems. I'm turning this for a second angle. Handheld seems to work fine with me. I mean, it's a very light, very comfortable to grip cell phone, so I have no issues with shooting at like a 1000 over 1 second of the speed. So yeah, I think that pretty much works very, very nice as a handheld camera. I mean, again, that's not my style. I'm always prefer to shoot with tripod, but maybe it's the time to learn new tricks. I think we're done with this location. There's some more options here, but I really don't want to push any further, because in order to use some of these, we need to push the bike even further, but I really don't want to do this today. The exercise for today is different, so let's not test the local security guys. So yeah, we'll be on our way heading toward the bike shed, our last stop for today. Right, that's our final stop for today. I'm not entirely sure is this day was what I was expecting, but probably that's actually even better. So we're going inside, we're going to have a drink, and I'm going to recap and do my verdict about my experience, my very short experience with SONY XPERIA Pro I. Right, back in the studio. Unfortunately, every single file since the moment we parked at the bike shed is corrupt. So I'm going to record my final opinion and my final verdict here in the studio. Anyway, let's cut down to the chase. How about this one? Does it really worth 1,599 British pounds? And am I going to recommend this phone to everyone? It's very hard to say after only a few hours having this toy in my hands. I really would like to go back to this and test it more thoroughly, more in depth, maybe even in the studio. So if you think this is something you would like to see on this channel, please let me know down in the comment section. As I said, my previous phone was 3 years old technology, and such a big jump inevitably leave a lot of positive and negative impressions. Something's being done better, something's being done worse, but for 3 years technology moved ahead. I'm impressed with what Sony managed to put in this shell. Honestly, such a creative freedom in such a small form. That's astonishing. I mean, to have this power in your pocket, all the creative control, manual settings, and everything is just perfect. Yeah, I will say this is probably Sony's Mona Lisa, but as such, it's not for everyone. If you're looking for a solution straight out of the box, this is not your product. Go for Google Pixel 6 Pro. Good Lord, you can actually buy 2 Google Pixel 6 Pros for the price of this phone. You can buy iPhone 13 Pro Max, whatever is the top flagship of Apple, and you will have a lot of money for additional accessories and stuff, and you will be a lot more satisfied. Because yes, this tool delivers great results, but it requires some knowledge. And it's not for everyone. Most of the people that will buy cell phones and will expect to have a great photography straight out of the box will be probably disappointed. And for that price, this will be a big disappointment. So, my opinion for this one, it's a great tool, but you will require a certain level of knowledge. Is this still going to replace all my equipment? Probably not, but it will be a very nice, trustful daily companion, which will allow me to experiment more, to push the boundaries of my daily life, and I don't know, trying to do things in photography that I never considered I'm capable of before. I mean, being a rigid, stiff, old school photographer is something that I like, don't get me wrong. I would like to learn new tricks. And I think this device is the bridge between me being a medium or whatever DSLR photographer into something new, something that will make me push the envelope, push the boundaries, and God knows, I mean, trying to go with something new. I already posted some results on a social media, and none of you guys managed to recognize the phone pictures. Yes, those files were heavily edited in Photoshop, but that usually is my style of work. It doesn't really matter if the file is produced by 4x5 medium format camera, DSLR or pocket camera. Those files are following the same workflow every single time. I was curious to see how far I can push those DNG files before they start breaking. And these files really survive my test. So I'm pleased to say, yes, those files will go in my portfolio. Well, this is my last video for this year. If you managed to survive by this point, thank you very much. And again, thank you very much for tolerating my awful English. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, fellas. Take care and stay safe. See you next year.